All right, nestled somewhere between Winslow and Holbrook, Arizona, in a town of that typically sits about 1,400. This week, there's a little over 1,500 folks there, if you include the 100 or so from the Queen Creek High School football team and staff. And joining me today from Joseph City, Arizona, is the man himself, head football coach Travis Schureman. Coach, welcome to the program. Thanks for joining us.
It's been a good day and a half so far. We we're trying to figure out some pieces that we're missing a little bit, just kind of who we are a little bit and what our identity is. And the kids have really kind of bought into that. So we're excited to kind of build upon each practice. And first practice starts at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we'll go till 10 o'clock tonight. But proud of just the kids and the way they're competing and battling right now.
Coach, real quickly, I want to go back to last season, and you're coming off a 10-3 season, state semifinalist, losing to eventual 6A state champion Centennial in a real close semifinal game, losing 37 seniors, now retooling. Obviously, everybody's talking about quarterback Tate Reynolds, his commitment to Clemson. How are you feeling about the supporting cast around Tate?
I think that's one thing we're just truly blessed with at Queen Creek is we have great kids and great families. And these families allow us to kind of hold kids to a higher standard and kind of the work ethic that we see fit to be successful. And so that's really what this week is, to find out, do we have what type of kids do we have, and if they're willing to do those things and to kind of play the Queen Creek way and to be involved in those things. And but I think that we have really, really good pieces. Maybe it's not flashy names, maybe it's not a bunch of big stars, but we have kids who are hungry and then want to be prove people wrong.
Well, you've definitely been in the conversation the last few years, and obviously with last year's success, now going into this season, I've taken a look at your schedule this year. It looks like a very respectable schedule, and typically a lot of teams, what they'll do is they'll schedule some games the early part of the season to kind of gain some confidence, get some momentum. And then at the end of the season, things tend to stack up a little bit. It looks like you did just the opposite by scheduling a 12-1 red hot Las Vegas team of Mojave High School, and you are at Mojave to start the season. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I think first of all, it's just a great opportunity to give a kids experience of getting away and playing outside the state of Arizona and to be able to go represent our town of Queen Creek and our families. I don't think there's a greater honor that you can have as a high school football player is to be able to go and represent a team and community. That's one of the things we take pride in is our school is Queen Creek, so we feel like we represent the town of Queen Creek. So having that opportunity, but you know we've always never been afraid to play top people, and I think you have to play those teams and know who you are, right? I think if you want to be considered one of the better teams or the best teams, you have to play those teams. And so it'll be a great opportunity to go play a great opponent who, like I said, they won a state championship last year. Their coach does a great job, great man. And so we're just honored that we're going to have this opportunity to go to Vegas and to represent Arizona.
One other thing, Coach, that's extremely impressive about your program is you've assembled a who's who of coaches on your staff. Prior head coaches, state championship winning head coaches, a former athletic director that's on your staff as your strength coach. Tell us a little bit about some of your coaches that are providing mentorship to these young men.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be this, to not start with Paul Reynolds, right? I think Paul Reynolds has really built Queen Creek to what it is, right? From being the athletic director and then moving that role into the weight room, and how blessed we are to have a man like that leading our kids in the weight room and holding those kids accountable and doing those things. But just seeing his vision, right, of what he thought he wanted Queen Creek to be and to see the successes being. And so we're super blessed to have Paul running the weight room. On the defensive side, we have Scott Howard, who's our defensive coordinator this year. Scott was the head coach of Florence for quite a few years, and then he left to come over to join our staff a few years ago. And then he does a great job. Arizona guy, played at Chandler, played at ASU. So we're just blessed to have that kind of. It's kind of nice to have a head coach on the defensive side that has been there and understands the things that I go through. And then obviously you have Coach Molander on the offensive side as our offensive coordinator, a longtime high school head football coach, and he's been done a great job with our quarterbacks. And he last year he just did our quarterbacks last year, and he's kind of transitioning to that offensive coordinator this year. But again, to have two former head coaches as your coordinators, that allows me just to kind of go back to doing what I love, and that's just coaching the O line, right? Like allows me to get back to my roots a little bit. But we have Coach Pace, who's been with me since I've been here, and he does running backs, DBs, helps all over the place. And then Coach Alex Kanowski is our special teams coordinator, and then we have Coach Bowman's linebackers and Coach Jackson defensive line, and then Coach Zimmerman is running backs. And then it's kind of a cool story. We have Coach Molander's son Miles is coaching our helping us with our wide receiver. So just really neat group of guys. To be honest, they're a great football coach, but they're even better men, and that's more important to me than the X's and O's of things.
Coach, last question for you, and it's more about the Queen Creek community in that for many years, Queen Creek was thought of as kind of the last outpost on the edge of the East Valley. Now they're appearing on many lists as the most ideal place in Arizona to live. What can you say about the family atmosphere that you've been surrounded by in the community itself?
Yeah, so I've been fortunate. I've been at Queen Creek one way or the other since 2010. So I've been here quite a long time, and so I've seen what really I took us from 3A all the way to 6A when we started here. The first year we were a 3A, and so it's just kind of unique to see the change in the football side of things. Obviously, we were kind of early on one of the first teams that ever got moved up to the 6A rankings because of the strength of schedule and winning and things like that. But those things don't happen without great community sport and great families and great people who love and are willing to allow you to do things that maybe aren't easy, that are hard, allowing us to hold their kids accountable, allowing us to push kids to do these things. But I think I was fortunate enough to have three kids who graduated from Queen Creek High School, so we've raised our kids. We live next to the high school, and so it's very true and dear to me and my wife. It's every night my wife walks over to the school and walks track, and then we go home after practice. And so we love Queen Creek and just what it represents, right? To me, Queen Creek represents what's right in this world, right? People who love each other, who care for each other, and are willing to go to bat when things maybe aren't easy, right? They're willing to always stand up, and when there's tragedy or things like happen, there's no better people to rally around and to support than the community of Queen Creek.
All right, there you have it. Live from camp up in Joseph City, Arizona, between Holbrook and Winslow, Coach Travis Schureman, Queen Creek Bulldogs. Coach, thanks again for joining us, and we'll look forward to chatting again soon.
Thank you so much.